Here with a wonderful, fun question for us to look at on a Thursday, which is how angels become angels, which is a fun little one. And given the fact that we're all, in a certain sense, angels in training, maybe there's some wisdom here for us, just in terms of how we can live our lives in a way that feels more aligned to the better angels of our nature. There you go. So it's again fascinating to look at Emmanuel Swedenborg's biblical commentary, this book called Secrets of Heaven, this beautiful piece of inspired writing, and he talks about sort of the poetic sense in the Bible, and then he has these beautiful times where he kind of goes off on tangents, and the tangents, fascinating to me in this particular section, which is the first book he actually ever wrote of theology, all deal with joy, which is kind of interesting. And I think that is, in a sense, that makes a lot of sense. That as he in his middle years started to feel closer and closer to God, he started to feel closer and closer to joy. So of course that's what he wrote about. So I find that kind of interesting, an interesting aside. And in this section, we're looking at a part where he offers a commentary as a Christian about the way he sees kind of angels working. Like, how is it that angels become angels? Now, one little story I want to tell you, that because this is the part of it I want us all to be able to like think about, because I find it so cool, and I've mentioned a number of times, is the idea that there's almost a universal recognition of what's good. Now, of course, there are a few diehard cynics who will have none of that, and best not to hang out with them or to hang out with that part of yourself if you find yourself that way. Um, cynics are, they're right about everything. So let that cynical part go. It was interesting yesterday, looking at that video. Probably a lot of you saw it. It was viral. The Little League World Series, and the young boy gets plonked in the head by the pitcher. I mean, gets plonked right in the temple, and goes to the ground. Obviously in a lot of pain, and that's scary. I mean, it really was a scary kind of play. And so he gets up, he shakes himself off, he goes over to first base. A hit batter in baseball, if you don't know the rules, you get to go to first base. And the pitcher on the mound who had hit him, you would think this would be an occasion for a bench clearing brawl or argument or a lot of yelling at each other. And it wasn't. The pitcher was so upset that he started to cry there on the mound. And these are young teenagers. So what happens at that moment? Well, if you look at the graphic that we put up for this particular service, that's what happened at this moment. The young boy on first base walks out. He gives the pitcher a hug. He tells him he's okay. He settles him down, and then he goes back to first base. Thinking, who does that? Well, that angel part inside of us does that. And I'm getting a little conflumped yesterday watching it. That's the angel side inside of all of us that sees that and goes like, oh yeah, that's how angels become angels. It was a beautiful thing. Yeah, you all share that. I think is really powerful. Now, Swedenborg talks about people who are interested in heaven and interested in that kind of life. What's sort of the process that they go through, and with his typology, he gives a lot of lists, and you read different lists in different places. And it's not that one list is better than another. It's just lists. It's just a line of thinking, and I like the line of thinking I was reading for today. And the line of thinking goes like this. First off, you have to understand that all the good stuff in heaven is shared, and it's not shared as in a way like I have half a pie, you take half, I take half. It's shared as in like we're all sharing the experience, so that if you feel deeply, deeply, deeply joyful, I get to feel that same thing. It starts to feel good. And folks, just imagine like a really good birthday party, right, for your kids, and you just really enjoy their enjoyment of it. That's kind of the sense of shared that I think he's talking about here. And what he said there's kind of three stages that we move through, as we're working on becoming angels, with how angels become angels. The first is this sense of deep abiding joy. And he talks about it being in our inner core. And that joy is that great because it's shared. So just imagine going to a place, take a little breath. You just sense that incredible joy all around you. And again, think of a really good birthday party and the joy when you watch people enjoying themselves, how much fun that is. And from there, it moves on to this deep peace, which is, again, the word shalom, probably even a better word than our word peace there. And that peace at our inner core because it's shared. So we're not like a yogi on the top of a hill all by ourselves. It's this is a shared experience. And just take a little breath there and just think of that peace lying that deeply at your heart. I mean, really amazing to think about that joy and that peace that lies deeply at our heart. And then the last piece, he said, and then then people who are on their way to becoming angels get to a place where they feel a sense of innocence. Take a breath there at their core. Now that innocence, we use that word far differently. And I think probably today a more contemporary definition of that word as he would use it would be the word openness. It's this innocence because it's the unwounded part, which we mentioned yesterday. Innocent means unwounded. It's this unwounded part. And because it's unwounded, it has no agenda or fear going into anything. It's not afraid of other people. It's not judging other people. It's just open. It's sort of a very simplistic openness to other people, curiosity. Maybe a good word to look at that is, the Buddhist concept of a beginner's mind. It's sort of having a beginner's mind. And folks, when you think of those things, right? Like just you put all those in line. So joy that's really deep on our hearts, peace that's really deep in our hearts, and innocence that gives perspective and wisdom and openness, in other words, that lies deeply in our hearts. You can see where, man, that's heaven right there. Boy, a place where you're feeling that level of joy, a place where you're at that level of peace where all the voices have just calmed. Boy, what would that be like, right? And a place of just complete openness. And you can see how these things then all kind of swing around to allow people to connect in ways that we don't usually connect in this human experience. We do on occasion, and we can celebrate that, but heaven's where we actually live it, where that becomes the air we breathe. So because we're able to be open to that level of joy, that joy gets shared and amplified. Because we're open to that level of peace, that peace gets shared and amplified. Because we're able to live in that level of openness, that openness gets shared and amplified. And that becomes sort of the virtuous circle gyrating up that becomes heaven. And can we touch places like that and this earth? Absolutely we can. And I would urge you just to think about that. Like, where have you touched that place? And again, if you want to, we got some beautiful comments, some email comments, and some comments on about what was the good thing you saw this week. I think that gets you right to what that is. You want to get a good idea of how angels become angels. Look at that stuff, and that'll weirdly give you a path. And it's interesting. It's not like a 3-step process. It's a witnessing and asking yourself, yeah, why do I know that to be such a good thing? Why do I know that to be true? And you do, and it is, and there's good answers for that. And keep coming back to that and see what that kind of yields for you, today, in terms of your spiritual life. So folks, that's how angels become angels. That's simple. So be thinking a little bit and maybe you just want to pick one. Do you want to pick joy today? Do you want to pick peace? Do you want to pick openness? Try to feel it at your core. Try to, as best you can, witness it both witness it coming in and share it going out, and just simply speak to it. I think so much of the spiritual life is just that simple awareness to those things, those places where heaven is among us, and it certainly is. So that's my thought for today, folks. I hope that makes a lot of sense. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little meditation, a little prayer, and then we'll say hi to folks on social media. So with that, friends, let's get a little breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, friends. Great to have a chance to chat with you all. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take a little look at any commentary you want to make. For those of you who are joining us live, we go through and we read comments that are left on New Church Live's Facebook page. Again, people leave them all over the place, but these are the ones we look at. And again, even I was looking this morning, lots of people look at lots of archive stuff, some of it months, some of it even years old. And feel free to make a comment because, if I manage to see them and respond to them, note them, I will try to give a response. Linda, good morning to you, my friend, and I hope you're doing well. Marcus, good morning. I hope you're having a good day, buddy. Paige, good morning to you, and I hope life is plugging along. Jean down there in Maryland wishes everyone a good morning as well. Kim, I like that good morning commerce. Yeah, all commerce. It's just a good phrase. Susan writes, good morning. I'm at the very beginning of that becoming an angel cycle. Is there hope? And there is definitely hope. This is I love this idea, this idea of hope, Miroslav Volf's definition, which I say a lot, but man, I need to constantly say it because I need to constantly remind myself. Christian hope is this. Christian hope is love stretching into the future. And that's like, that's so good, right? So there's always hope because love will always stretch into the future. And I think, people, I struggle with the idea that there's even hell, if I'm totally honest. I think maybe people go there for a while, but I think love wins in the end. That's my little heresy for the day. So Linda writes, looking forward to Saturday. We have a little dinner group that meets, and if any of you are interested in that kind of thing, do let me know. Yeah, Linda, that'll be a lot of fun. Jean writes, I choose joy. I see it in my beautiful grandsons. Yeah, and I like that idea, right? Of like joy is a choice, and all these things, Jean, right? Like in a fascinating way, all these things are not conditional. In other words, like I think so much of learning to be an angel is finding that joy, that peace, that openness, finding those things and finding them regardless of our life circumstances, which is kind of pretty fascinating to think about. I can't quite imagine how people would figure it out, but somehow they do. Saying hi to Katie out there watching us from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Deborah writes, good morning, feeling peaceful. Great way to start my day. Thank you. You are welcome, Deborah. It's always great to see you tune in. And a hello to Jean, who's joining us as well. So wishing you folks all the very best. May you have simply a wonderful day, finding a little joy, a little peace, and a little openness, and watch how those things just cycle back on each other. So take care, my friends. God bless. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.